this meeting. Let's start. Interesting. So this is the layout file which I did yesterday. So let's play with some CSS. Right click, open with Notepad. Now as you can see here, this is my output, and I want to change all the headings to specific color and all the paragraphs to specific color and sizes, and of course font type, changing the font type. So first of all, let's go here, all TDs. Instead of says all TDs, H1, color FF 1 2 3 4, font size 14 pixels, 14 pixel, font family. Yeah. So here again, font family is repetitive, so we don't want to write it for every tag. So what we can do is, I'm just taking it down over here and going to the top. I know you can write anywhere, but I'm going to the top only. The reason because it is applying universally, so it's easy for me to identify. So I'm just placing at the top. So just save it and look at screen and refresh the page. As you can see, all the font has been applied as an Arial, and only the title has been changed with the red color. So now I can increase the font size to 18 pixels and go here and paragraph. Of course, I just wanted font size around 14 pixels. Brilliant. And just go and save it. See, as you can see, you have changed the font size of the text too. So let's try today external CSS. So far we have used inline CSS, uh, which is to the specific attribute. Let's say I just wanted something over here. So I can say style is equal to color ff 00ff, any color you can take. So basically what I'm trying to do here, I'm writing inline style sheet so that I can change only this specific tag content, whatever the color I want to change. So refresh the page and check here, I'm getting a pink color only for the site. So I can do this for any tag actually, which is style attribute, which I told you in the first session, I think in the second session. So this is the inline style sheet, and this is the internal style sheet that we have written. So what is external style sheet? External style sheet is we write all the CSS outside the file and link it inside HTML. So let's go, and so for this I'm just going to take a duplicate of existing layout, or maybe I'll say go on, I'll create one more folder, CSS styles, same, and I'll just open new file, go here, Notepad, Alt F, save as CSS play .html. Brilliant. So now I just need to take my HTML tag as usual. Body. And of course, main thing, header. I'm writing reverse. It's supposed to be like, yeah. So open, close, everything is perfect. Now let's, since I am writing a new file, I'm writing an external CSS. Now I'm going to create one more file, Alt F, save as, and of course all files should be there. And now I'm writing styles.css. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating an external file called styles.css over here, and I'm linking it in the header with the tag called link. So basically you write link tag to link the style.css. Type is equal to text slash CSS. Why we are writing type is equal to text slash CSS attribute? Because we need to tell the browser, of course we are linking a file, but we need to tell the browser, hey, whatever the file I'm linking, it is a CSS file. And also one more attribute, what is the relation between this file and HTML file, which is style sheet. So there are a lot of options to other options to link, but this is other files, other file types to link using link tag. So we need to make sure the browser should understand what we are linking. So that's the reason we are giving. Of course, the head stuff is just to link the file, but this is to understand what to tell the browser, what type of it is, what type of file it is, and also the relation between the two files. So it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you can easily remember these three attributes, mandatory. And let's say I want to organize a little bit. All I can say is CSS slash. So now what happens when I say CSS slash? So this file will look into CSS folder and look for style.css. But here style.css is directly very next to CSS play file. So right now I'm going to create one more folder called CSS, enter, and I just move the styles to CSS. Why did I move that? Because I'm just trying to organize the structure of the HTML page, so it's easy for me to recognize when I open a folder. I understand, hey, all the CSS file be inside the CSS folder and go and check it. All the images files will be inside the images. All the JavaScript file inside JavaScript. So basically, it's a proper structure, structurizing the code. If you have 100 HTML files, so it's difficult. It's again, a little difficult. It's little confusing to recognize HTML CSS files. If you have 10 CSS files and 100 HTML files, so it's kind of messed up. If you put everything in a in a folder structure, let's say in CSS you have 10 CSS files, in JavaScript you have 5 JavaScript files, and in root folder we have 100 HTML files. So it's easy to recognize. So one of the best way to structurize your website. And let's see, now I want to apply the CSS, right? Whether the link is working or not, I need to check. So go here, take a paragraph. Oh, inside the paragraph, I can say, I love India. So now, uh, go to style sheet, here, go CSS, right click, open, Notepad Plus. Notepad. So now here what I'm writing P, open, close. Of course, the same thing I'm explaining. This is the same thing which I did with internal and inline. But since we are checking external, let's try how exactly it works. Is it working fine? as the color change to red color. Brilliant. Which means my external style sheet is working fine. So before you do anything, first check whether the external file is working fine or not once you link to the external style sheet. So far we learned different types of style sheets, which is different types of applying style sheets. There is no different types of style sheets. Different ways to apply style sheet. One is internal. We are writing inside the header tag with a style tag. Another one is inline, which is we are writing directly to the tag as an attribute, as a style, using style attribute, and we are applying colors or any other CSS attributes. And the third one is external style sheet, uh, where you can basically put the file outside the put all CSS attributes outside the file and link it in a HTML file. Give me one second. Not able to hear. Can you hear me now, Srinivas? I was not looking into the chat actually. Excellent. So now let's play with the CSS. Let's talk about CSS attributes. So we have hundreds of CSS attributes, and today we are going to discuss about two CSS selectors. So we call them as a selector. Right now I have used paragraph, right? Paragraph is a tag. So we call it as a tag selector. So which means in CSS, if I use any tag to write CSS, we call it as a tag selector. And there are other a bunch of selectors, but today we are going to discuss about class and ID. So using this class and ID, we can control the CSS from the document. Let's say here I have a 15. So I have some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bunch of paragraphs, but all the paragraphs will have a different content, of course. Let's say India has one of the largest army, whatever. Largest army in the world. So now, and India is rich in culture. So anyway, I'm just taking some examples out. And your Prime Minister is Narendra Modi. I'm a little patriotic here, just be here with me. Okay, what else I can write? Raj Mahal, something, whatever, I'm just getting my mind. Go. So now we have various paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So as you can see, if I go and refresh here, oops, I have not saved the file. So saving is important. Now, as you can see, all the paragraph has been applied to red. But if I want something different for this, what I need to do, I cannot write one more paragraph and color change. It won't work. It will simply overwrite one another. So now using classes and IDs, I can control that. Let's say I'm going to create a class. So what is class? It is a class attribute. You can give it as a class attribute. So the name would be appropriate. Always try to give a name in a proper way, so which where you need to understand the content. since I'm writing an example, I'm taking as a C, content 1. But when you're writing a real-time CSS with a real-time template, all you need to do is there you can take the name. If it is a heading, you can say heading 1. If it is a main content, you can say main underscore content. So naming convention is very important for you to understand. Let's say you have written today, and if you want to check it after 15 days or after 1 year or 2 years, you should be able to understand quite easily. So C1, C2, it won't work properly. I mean, it will work, of course, because it's computer. We can write whatever we want. If you give a proper naming convention, it's easy for us to identify what is what. So for the time being, in this example, I'm giving as a class is equal to C1. So similar to that, I'm going to give a different classes to each and every C2, and I'll say C4. I'll say ID 5. ID class is equal to say 6. Of course, I'll give class is equal to C5, and of course I've given ID is equal to 5, and ID is equal to 6. So here I just want a same color, so I'm just writing a same CSS, same class. Okay. Now let me give you a difference between what is class and what is ID. Class and ID are both attributes, both selectors. I mean, basically here you have written as an attribute, so here it is an attribute, but generally class and ID are selectors, which means using these two items you can select, you can target any specific tag and change its nature, which means I can change, I can target only the C1 and change the color of C1, change color of that specific tag content using C1, which means it will target only uh, uh, tags with attribute class C1. Let's try writing C1 style sheet. Okay, C1, open and close. I'm saying, hey, color, open, FF00, FF, and save it. Go here, refresh. So here, what I did is I've taken C1, but it should always represent with a dot. So when you say class, it should always represent with dot. When you say ID, it is always represent with hash. So which means if in the file, if you give as a class attribute in style sheet, you need to write as .c1. In file, if you give it ID in the style sheet, you need to write hash like this. ID 6. Don't ask me why. It's just a rule basically. It's a CSS rule. Class represents dot, ID represents hash. Remember, class represents dot, ID represents hash. And just save it and try to refresh the file. See what happens. It has simply overwritten with the uh, pink color. So you might wonder, hey, I have already given P color red, and let's go and open this one also. Here. Now you can see. So now P is a red color paragraph, which means it is applying entire site, which means in the entire site, wherever you find paragraph tag, change that color to red. But again, I'm saying one more class, I'm writing one more class saying that one more CSS style, which means for the same. So this time I'm writing to the specific tag. I'm targeting specific tag using class. C1 open color pink. So now what happens? Now I'm saying that, hey, fine, you have already given a red color for the paragraph, all the paragraphs, that is fine. But if you find a class with a C1, change that to pink. Similar to that, if you find a class C2, change that to specific thing. So again, I'm going to do for the C2, hey, if you find C2 class, change it to I'll say font size to 20 pixels. Let's try refresh the page. As you can see, there is only one C2. That's the reason it has only one paragraph has been changed to 20 pixels, and remaining all are same. Here is one thing that you need to remember over here. There is a difference between class and ID with respect to priority. Let's say, let me show you what do you mean by priority. I'll talk about priorities in a moment, but before that, even first you need to understand class is not unique, ID is unique, which means in this document you can use class C2 or class C1 or C4, C5, C6 as many times as you want in a single HTML file, which means I have already used the class C1, I've given here also. Like that, you can give wherever you want in the entire document and use that class for your purpose. But ID, it should be always unique, which means in the entire this HTML file, you should not give another ID like this. I'll just same ID. I'll say, hey, I'll give ID for this Andhra Pradesh also, same ID. This is not the purpose of ID. ID should be always unique, which means it's like a unique name. So let's say today my name is Parmesh. I set up a rule in my community. Let's say I have 50 members of community saying that, oh, it's similar to the user ID, username. So you have created a Gmail ID, let's say uh, leela.parmeshwara@gmail.com. No one can take it, right? It's a unique email ID. You cannot change it. No one can take it. They have to do with a different name. Similar to that, you would never give same ID to another tag, which means in the entire HTML page, there should be only one ID, unique ID. But you can give number of IDs, but always name should be different. But with the class, you don't need to worry about that. So that's the reason mostly we use class in our CSS, and ID we will use ID to overwrite it. Or maybe if we need any help with the JavaScript. So mostly we will use ID in the JavaScript. So class in the CSS, but with this latest frameworks, people are using even now classes also pretty much. So you might wonder when to take class, when to take ID. It's simple. I mean, mostly you take class. Try to take ID only if you need something unique. So you don't need to because even if you take it, doesn't make any sense, right? If you're not able to use it, multiple times in the page. So don't take ID. Mostly take classes. I take the ID if you want to overwrite any other classes or something, because ID has a highest priority. As you can see here, let me talk about the priority actually. CSS priority, we call it as a CSS priority, which means which one overrides which. So far we have discussed 3 selectors. So today we will discuss only 3 selectors, and in coming sessions we will discuss about remaining selectors too. So what are the selectors we have discussed today? Let me note down for you. One is tag selector. We call them as a CSS selectors. You can Google it. I mean, you'll find a different number of list of CSS selectors. Number of websites already giving a lot of information about these selectors. And tag selector, CSS selector, ID selector. Like that, we have a various number of selectors. We'll talk about that, but let me show you universal selector. So what is universal selector? Which means it will apply for every tag in the HTML. So let me write an example. So you might most of the HTML pages definitely master should have this star tag. So only star is only one universal selector. Class is only class selector. ID is only class ID selector. Tag selector is basically any tag is called a tag selector. What happens when I say star is star? I'll say line height 18 pixels and what is most commonly used for this? Yeah, padding 0 pixels, margin 0 pixels. Beautiful. So what I did here is I have applied line height, padding, margin to the entire document. Sorry, to the not entire document, all the documents in the entire document. Sorry, all the tags in the entire document. So which means for every tag, line height is 18 pixels, padding is 0, margin is 0. So by default, there are paragraph tag is there. By default, there is a margin and padding. Now it margin like 5 pixels or something like that for paragraph, or for header tag by default 10 pixels or 20 pixels of margin is there. So I don't want unnecessary margins. I want how much ever I want. So that's the reason I'm removing all the padding and margin for the all tags in the document. So with this, you can see there is a space you find, right, for every paragraph. If you refresh it, you'll see everything is gone. Now I can control the space through my CSS selectors. Let's say, all right, paragraph. I'll say, hey, dude, if you find a paragraph, change this margin to 15 pixels. So which means margin, when I say margin, it is not only for one side, it is margin left, margin right, margin top, margin bottom. So which means we are giving margin for 4 sides. Let's refresh. As you can see, I'm getting a margin 20 pixels, whatever the pixels I have given, 15 pixels, and top 15 pixels, and bottom to 15 pixels, and also right 15 pixels. So basically now, before there was a margin only top and bottom. That was by default provided by the tag. We removed that and we have given our own margin. So now we are able to control it. So, and also I can write font family, but anyway, I can write, I'll say, I can write body tag and I'll write font family. You might wonder, why don't you give dot body? Because it's not a class, it's a tag selector. So that's you need to differ yourself. Okay, dot, when dot I should give, dot is for class. When ash I should give, ash is for ID. Let's say if I give ID is the ID attribute in the HTML file, I need to use ash. If I use class attribute in HTML file, I use dot. And if I don't use anything, if I want to change directly to the specific tag, I can give directly tag name. That's it. So now body font family area. You might wonder what's the difference between star and body. So there is no difference actually. Yeah, there is a difference. So star represents every tag in the HTML. Body represents uh, because body contains all tags automatically. So most of them, both of them are similar. Uh, when it comes to overwritten, you will see the difference. So you don't need to worry about that right now. So basically you can consider as mostly like similar. Star means all the tags it will apply, and body means all the, let's say, let me give you an example. Here line height is equal to 18 pixels. I have given star. Star means star represents all the tags. For all the tags in the HTML, line height is 18 pixels. Padding is 0 pixels. But body tag, if I give a body tag margin 0, margin top, let's say I will say margin top 20 pixels. What now do? Now what it will do? It will overwrite the margin of universal tag, and it will give its own margin, which means this margin will apply only for body, not for internal whatever the tags exist inside the body. But font family will apply for all the tags inside the body. But though those individual tags can also overwrite that and change, give a different font family. So basically you need to understand there are few things which apply for only the specific tag for the body, and there are few things will apply for whole all the tag to all tags inside the body. So margin and padding are, these two are always related to the specific tag only. It won't apply for the tags exist inside the body. Okay, I hope that's pretty clear. Can we write font family in selector, in star selector? Yes, of course, you can write. You can write anything. It is just a just a selector. So which means you're literally you can write any CSS attributes inside it. But remember, if you write any CSS attributes inside star selector, uh, basically it will apply for every tag in the document. So you need to be very careful. You cannot say font size 20 pixels in star, because it will apply font size 20 pixels for the entire document. So you need to be very smart which one I need to use here, which one I need to use there, something like that. That you will understand, you will know based on the experience. So once you started working with the templates and everything, you can do. As you can see, font family has been beautifully applied to the document, and everything is good. So now I'm talking about only these four selectors, but there are a lot of other selectors too. But today, well, first we'll talk about the priority of these four selectors, and once I introduce other selectors in upcoming sessions, you can easily, identify all by yourself, hey, which one is taking highest priority, which one is not taking highest priority. Okay, so let's talk about CSS priorities, CSS selectors priorities. So which means which one has a highest priority. So like let's say authority, maybe let's say, because see uh, I uh, I always listen to my manager. So though I have my individual opinion, but still I cannot override my manager's vision or whatever the task given by the manager. So I have to do, I cannot override his decision, because it's not under my control, because he has highest authority than me. And manager cannot override CEO decision. So because CEO has authority than on him. So I cannot override CEO decision, right? So CEO also has authority not only in manager but also in me. So that's how priority works over here in CSS selectors. So same way, let me show you an example here in this existing example itself. So here, star is a universal selector. So forget about universal means it's we need to give a highest priority for this. No, it's not like that. So here, first of all, let's talk about first come first service, and then we'll talk about authority. So let's say let me show you. I don't want to give any example. So here, as I said, I think I have already showed you one example which is overwritten. Margin 0 pixels is applied to the every tag in the document, and I changed it margin top 20 pixels. Right? What happens now? Now margin top has been changed. Margin top I change it to 20 pixels. Let's say I'll change it to 50 pixels, and I'll just refresh. As you can see, it has been overwritten, right? So which means when I write after the star, I have written body and I said margin top 50 pixels. It has been overwritten by the it has been overwritten. This margin 0 pixels has been overwritten by margin top 50 pixels. It is not authority. It is a common theory saying that whoever last change something, so it will update automatically. So basically, if I came here and I use my laptop, and another person came after me and he used my laptop, my timestamp is different and his timestamp is different, and he is the latest one, right? So if I ask who came last, so in the list, this guy came last. So similar to that. So now what happened here is body is taking overwriting the star because it is next to it, because the compiler runs from top to bottom. First it runs star and margin 0 pixels, and again it runs body and hey, change the margin to 50 pixels. But let's say control X and put it on the top of the star. Now what happens? Let's refresh the page. Beautiful. This is called authority. So now I have given margin top 50 pixels. First compiler runs, hey, body margin top is 50 pixels, remember. Okay, next compiler comes here, hey, margin is 0 pixels. But if you refresh here, that is not applying. Why it is not applying? Because if you compare with the star, body has highest authority. So this is how we are going to test authority, which means a priority. I don't call it as authority, sorry. It is priority, which means here body tag has highest priority than star tag. So which means if I write anything inside star, it can be overwritten by any tag in the HTML. So that's the reason we mostly give star at the top. We don't need to worry about it. I just put it, and hey, it can be easily modified by, so it can be easily overwritten by any other tag. So because always direct tag has a highest priority than a universal selector. So here I'm talking about priority, CSS priority. So now, so first priority goes to, since we have not selected CSS and ID selector, we have not tested it, so we are not going to think about it right now. So first priority goes to what? Now tag is in a first position, right? And universal selector in a second position when it compares to only these two CSS selectors. Now let's try to give a class selector. Now go here. So margin, instead of margin, I'll go, I think margin you cannot see the difference. I'll take color. So universal selector, I'll give universal color to hash EF. So I'm using color to test priority here, color tag. So now what I did is color EF, it is a gray color. Now all the tags inside the body will color will be gray. This is what we are expecting. Did I remove padding margin? Yes, you removed it. That's the reason. I just give 15 pixels just for the time being. I just want to see something cool. Okay, now good. So now what is the color I have given? Hold on. As you can see, I have given color gray color, but none of them has been applied. So which means because that they have been overwritten by tag. As we already seen that priority, that's fine. Good, cool. Now I have a class, right? I'm going to change, as you can see here, color, I changed it to pink and it has been overwritten. Though all the paragraph is color is red, but because of the class it is changing. There is nothing worry, don't need to worry about, there is no wonder, because this class is next to the paragraph, which means compiler runs from top to bottom. Hey, it's quite easy. You change the color red, but next compiler in the next line, it's found, hey, only this specific class, change it to pink. So there is no wonder, because it's a natural thing to overwrite. That's why we are writing next after the paragraph. But let's try this. Got it? Put it on top of the paragraph. So according to the compiler runs from top to bottom. Hey, if you find C1, change color to pink. So next, okay, I've given paragraph, change color to red. So according to my theory, general natural theory, this color should be overwritten with this paragraph. Why I'm talking only paragraph? Because we have given only paragraph tags in the document. So first I have given class C1 is a pink color, and next immediately I have taken paragraph tag with the red color. So which means all the paragraphs will be red color no matter what, because it's overwritten by paragraph, because it's a compiler runs, this is the last thing with respect to color, that compiler running, and go and check refresh. There is no change, which means what do we need to understand here? Class has the highest priority when you compare with the paragraph, right? So if you write a class and if you try to change it using color, it won't work. If you try to change it using tag selector, it won't work, because tag selector cannot overwrite class selector. That's a universal truth here that you need to remember anytime. So if you want to overwrite a class selector using a tag selector, it won't work. There is no way that it will work. There is a way, but we'll talk about it later, not now. But so this is the universal truth. So now what I need to remember, so let's change the priority. What is the, so class has the highest selector. See, remember one thing. So universal has a less priority than tag selector, and tag selector is less priority than CSS selector. So even automatically CSS will come to the top, and you don't need to compare with CSS selector and universal selector, because it's always higher than universal, because of it's already take authority on tag. So has highest priority than tag, so we don't need to worry about that. So you want, you can test it actually, CSS selector and universal selector. CSS selector always wins. So now this is perfect. Now let's try check for ID. Where is ID? I have a given ID. Where is ID? Okay, here. I'll say ID is equal to uh, IDC 1, something like that, whatever. So now going styles and check here. Control V, open, close. So as I said, remember, as I said, it's always represent ash. ID should always represent ash. So now let's try to change color to something else. FF 00. So what happens now? So usually what we are saying, according to the compiler, only this will run, right? According to the compiler, it should change whatever the ID you have, wherever the paragraph has ID, no matter what you have given, it will change because of the compiler. Anyway, that's a nature, but I will cut it and put it on the top of class. So as per my understanding, this color will change to, so this will override by this one, because it's a nature, compiler runs from top to the bottom. And this is not override, because as per my understanding right now, class has a highest priority. So no matter even compiler runs, it won't work, because class has a highest priority. So automatically, as per my expectation, this should this should overwrite and this color will come. Who knows? Maybe ID has the highest priority, right? So let's test. So if the color is not overwritten by this class, see, remember this class, I have given a class ID to this tag. I'm not comparing others, and I'm just talking about this priority here. I have given same a class attribute ID attribute to the same tag. So here, save it and try to refresh. As you can see, it has not changed because ID has highest priority when you compare with class, when you compare with the tag, when you compare with the universal selector, right? So sorry. Now ID comes to the top. So why do we need this? Why do we need to know this priority? Let's say in the in your example, when you're working with it, you have written something, but you want to overwrite it only specific. Let's say I have, as I said, you have written everything. This is what? This is a universal. It will apply for all tags, and you have given color for all classes. .c1, but there are like how many C1s? Two C1s. But you want to apply this, you want to change only this paragraph color to yellow, so I'll use ID to override that class. Why I'm using ID only, not paragraph tag? Because the ID has the highest priority, so I can easily override that and change it whatever I want. So that's why we use CSS priority. Mostly if you use frameworks, they have written everything, CSS styles and everything. We can override, if you know CSS priority, we will know, hey, I can override using ID because ID has the highest priority when I compare with other selectors. Okay, here I have a paragraph. Okay, if the paragraph is there, paragraph tag is there, okay, I can use class. Class is the highest priority when it comes to paragraph. So I can use class to override its CSS. So this is called CSS priority. So this is a, since I took only 4 selectors, it is easy to identify which one has highest priority. There are like group selectors. There are like there is one more thing. Let's try inline style sheet, right? And one more thing, remember this sequence nothing to do with it. Oh, since I have given class first and after that ID he has given, no, this sequence is nothing to do it. Don't consider. You can write wherever you want. Let's say you can write out is here. It, it doesn't make any difference. So this sequence doesn't make any difference, but sorry, this sequence make difference because compiler runs from top to bottom. Okay, so here also top to bottom compiler runs, but it won't make any difference because the way of DOM structure load, so you don't need to worry about which one should write first, so don't worry about that. Now I'm writing style tag. Style is equal to, I'll say color ash whatever 07 EF. Let's see. So far ID has highest priority, right? I've just given, as you can see here, even ID has been overwritten because inline style sheet has always highest priority, right? So you need to understand, like sometimes we might there is no chance of overwriting any maybe if, I don't know whether that is possible or not. You can always have a opportunity to override the specific tag using tag content using ID or class or paragraph or group selectors, however, but somehow you are not able to override it. So you can go directly into the file and write style is equal to change, style attribute, and it has highest priority. So remember, inline style sheet has a highest priority, but never maximum try 99% not to use inline style sheets. It's kind of odd if you use it, so I don't recommend it. Anyway, you have a hell lot of options, hell number of options here, like with the selectors itself, and you can overwrite it you can overwrite anything in the document. So this is what CSS priority with the CSS selectors. So far, four selectors. Uh, One is ID, one is class, one is tag, one is universal. And ID has the highest priority, CSS is a second, tag has a third, and universal has a fourth. I want you to test this yourself. Of course, I have already tested and shown to you, but I want you to test it yourself and play with it so you will understand in a better way. Mm, it's easy for you now if you understand the roots. It's easy for you when you're creating a template. So do as much as you can with respect to practice. So practice, and it's good, always good. Now I think that's it for today's session. But so far what you did is you just created layouts, right? Why don't you put some content in the layouts and apply some CSS in your own way. Write your styles, since you know a few things already, CSS attributes like color, font family, font size. uh, what else you know? You can Google actually, find out. I'll say I'll just say uh, CSS attributes list. Right, CSS reference. It's a beautiful page. w3schools.com/css reference. You find property groups, color, background, animation, transform. All these are like CSS3. Don't worry right now, but take basic things like border bottom. Here you find background and border properties, background clip, background image. So practice and learn about it. Just click on that. You can see how it is applying, and then you can apply basic box properties, left, margin, right, left. So practice with whatever the CSS, text align, line height, text align lost, text transform, it changes from lowercase to capital letter, capital uppercase, and uppercase to lowercase. So you can do whatever you want. So basically, w3schools.com/css reference, CSS REF. So basically, of course, you can Google and you will find a number of other sources also. So try to apply as many CSS attributes as you can and understand them. You don't need to understand everything right now, but try to understand many attributes. Remember CSS many attributes and use it in your when you are creating layout and the template structure. So far we have given assignments which are like 2, 3. Yeah, click on the fourth assignment. I think nothing is there. It's there. Shopping cart layout. So I just found some layout in the Google and put it here. Since this is not a commercial, we're just basically trying to learn it. So I'm not sure what's the source is it. See here, since with your knowledge, whatever with the you can create a layout using tables, right? So you try to create this layout. This is an assignment. This is quite easy. So uh, just simple, it's table inside table, that's it, nothing else. And these are the uh, you can ignore the input. This is like basically form tags. We have not yet we are not there actually. We will talk about it in upcoming sessions. So when instead you can leave the blank space. Wherever you find this input tags or form tags, you just leave it a blank space, or write just a text saying that this is a type input, this is a search, something like that. But remaining all, or you can use a text, use all the text and try to change that CSS to, hey, this is a blue color. This, let's say this is a blue color. The font size a little bit bigger than product description, and color black. So apply CSS and apply your tables, so you can build this easily with your existing knowledge, whatever you have. So I want you to do these two assignments. I'm not because since you were quite busy, you're not working on the assignments. I see only a few people like Sarita, Shubham, and other person. I forgot the name, but anyway. So only few people did the assignment. I want assignment is the highest priority. So assignment 3 and 4, and of course 2, 2, 3, 4. Ignore 1. That's quite simple. I mean, I don't mind, but I'm going to look into these 3 assignments and give you a lot of information. Like, let's say if you do these 3 assignments, you will have a number of questions. I'll take a session only on the questions, the whole session only on the questions, and explain you how it can be done, what's wrong with your code and everything. So if it is wrong, so I mean, there is nothing wrong even if it is wrong. So don't take it, in a negative way. Just take it in a positive way to learn it. So basically, yeah, I'm expecting these 3 assignments, and this is the highest priority. And I look into each and everyone's assignment, and I'll give you suggestions based on how you have written, and uh, you know in that way it will improve your code quality. So I can suggest, like, if you're writing in some other way, if you're missing few attributes, hey, this attribute should be mandatory, you're missing this, something like that. So I can give you suggestions. Uh, Trust me, if you create an assignment, it will help a lot. It will help more than whatever I'm teaching right now. So start creating assignments and ask a number of questions, as many you want. So you can ping me in the Skype, and I'll ping you. Yesterday someone pinged me in the night. I couldn't reply. I think Sriram Soda. So I'll try to reply as much as I can, but you can straight away, you don't need to say I'm there or something. You straight away ask a question. Whenever I'm there, I'll just reply to that question, answer to that question. So don't wait for me. Everyone, let me, are you there? So which means I cannot say I'm here. Let's say I'll come, of course, I'm here, and I go outside, and again you ask a question again. So it will, take some time. Iterations, right? Basically, you will losing time. So ask a straight question. That's it. So I can reply to it, and you can even ask in the group. So try to ask always in the group, because if I'm not there, others will help you out. Okay. There's nothing wrong to ask question. I don't mind. You can ask questions anytime. Okay.